Tonight, we're going to talk about copyright and how easy it is to take down an entire album for 1 month. On having no basis. I can't think of the word. Having no sustenance in the claim. So, start with the story. My friend and I have a duo project called Bubsters, in which we have made some music, and we put out an album at the end of June titled The Bubster Wavelength. And everything on the album was ours, with the exception of one track in which the melody and the guitar part was created by a friend of my friend Nick. His friend, who will not be named. They were really good friends for many years, and so they collaborated on the song to get a guitar track out of it, and it was a really neat part. But then they kind of had a falling out because he who shall not be named kind of went a little crazy. From my perspective, it just seems like they kind of burned a bridge for no reason. I don't know the full story, but nevertheless, in their bout with my friend Nick, they texted Nick and said, "I don't want credit on the Bubsters track. I never did." And so we took that as, okay, like, we'll just take them out of the credit. We'll still use the song. They just don't want the credit for it. So we'll credit the guitar part to someone else. And we credited it to Thelonious Monk because we thought it was funny. And what do you know? Like a whole week after the album was released on all stores, we get a notification. Actually, I didn't even get a notification. I got messages from friends and family asking, "Hey, where's your album? Why is it I can't listen to these songs? They're all grayed out." And so the entire album was removed. And so we were very confused. Finally, I get an email from our distribution service. TuneCore is the distribution service I use. And they send me an email stating that he who shall not be named has claimed that you have violated their rights on the song Jay's Grits from the album The Bubster Wavelength, track number 5. And we were like, what? Dude, he literally said he did not want credit for this. And so we didn't credit him. And now he's saying that we're violating his rights because we didn't credit him or because we released it without his permission. It's like, what the heck? So I'm trying to be very professional in my speaking here. And so this is my hypothesis for how these events unfolded from his perspective. He heard the album was released, he saw it, and then he saw that that song was released on the album, and he checked the credits. I can't understand if the dispute is that we released the song, period, or we released it without crediting him. So I don't know, but okay, so let's go back. So he sees that the album's released, he sees the song, and whatever in his mind doesn't register. So he goes into Spotify, and this was through Spotify, and he copyright claims it. Okay, and I'm going to guess within 24 hours of his claim, they took the entire album down. Oh, I should have mentioned, he made a social media post about us stealing his song. He copyright claims the the song through Spotify, and they take the entire album down. And not only do they take it down, but my distribution service, TuneCore, removes the album from all stores. Okay? In this email thread I get that says they've claimed that we violated their rights, they give me a list of instructions, a procedure to counter the claim. So I follow their steps. I counter the claim. In writing, I leave a statement saying that they even stated they didn't want credit for the song, so we didn't give them credit, and we even would still give them credit if they did want it, because they helped make the song. So, like, that's the right thing to do. I don't, it's not a big deal to me, right? Because they helped make the song. Even though they're burning a bridge with my friend, like, whatever. It's the right thing to do, right? So, that's where it ends with me. And at the time of all of this unfolding, I began starting to volunteer in a lab at my university in preparation for me going into graduate school. So I wanted to get some hands-on experience and kind of re-hone my lab technique in preparation. So I'm not really focused on this copyright business that's going on, right? But it had been like 3 weeks and nothing had happened. So I think this was at the hands of the distribution service I use. But I reached out on the email thread and I said, hey, we're waiting for a some kind of information about this. Like, we want to be updated on what's going on. Please let me know. And they didn't respond for like a couple days. It might have been on a weekend, so they responded like the next business day. And they said, the claimant, he who shall not be named, has not responded to your counterclaim within 10 days, so we're going to re-upload the album on all storefronts except Spotify, because Spotify has their own internal stipulations, or they have their own regulations about copyright claims, so we can't do anything. Like, that's on them. And unless you want to resolve this with the claimant, we're just going to put it up on everything except Spotify. And so I'm like, okay, cool, it's fine. And I think a week after that, it's up on Spotify. But they removed the song that was copyright claimed in the first place. And so there lies the end of the story. But what is the point of the story? Why am I telling this? I think that certain distribution services or storefronts that allow streaming of music, they side with the claimant rather than the artist, by default, I guess. In this experience, that's what I'm taking away from this. Now, had we been a much larger artist in the industry, more higher esteemed artists in the industry, perhaps this would swing the other way. And if he who shall not be named really wanted to, they could like take this to court, I guess, even though there's they have no evidence that we stole their song or their melody or whatever, because they literally said in writing that we have proof that they didn't want credit for it. So, but again, it's interesting to me that Spotify, first of all, took down the entire album for one track, and they sided with the claimant, even though the claimant didn't put in the work that we did. They made one song, and they didn't partake in the build-up of this album release, right? And this album was in the works for many years, and they just, as soon as we release it, it gets taken down for a month because of this, like, silly feud, which has there's no basis for this feud at all anyway. So it's just, it's ridiculous. And I don't get why they would side with the claimant and take it all down And it's back on me to put in the effort to do all this stuff to make sure that it gets re-uploaded and redistributed. It's just absurd, and it begs the question, like, where's the line where it kind of tips in the favor of the artist, right? Like, the artist is the creator of the medium, music, writing, whatever, right? So why I just don't get, there's no representation for the artist in small cases like this. And I don't understand it. Because as a tiny independent artist or group of artists, what is there to gain behind if someone in my situation stole a musical idea? What is there to gain from it? If nothing, there's more to gain from it if you have esteem and power and influence already in the industry. That's where you have more of a way to gain from something like this, rather than if you're a tiny independent, like, obscure artist. So yeah, I think that's pretty silly. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So hopefully this helps you think. Hopefully you enjoy the story, and hopefully this gives you something to think about in your life. And I will say that I am not disappointed with how things ended, because the album has been re-uploaded, and everything's on there except that one track. And we have discussed just recording the guitar part and the melody. So, whatever. So it's everything has worked out in the end, so to speak. But it is just interesting to me that they sided with the claimant. I don't know. Anyway, hope everything's going well to whoever listens to this. And bye bye.